I ain't gonna lie to y'all niggas, bro. Cardi B downfall is looking crazy right now. How the fuck you managed to get pregnant not even a year after you and your mans broke up? Managed to get pregnant by the nigga who constantly cheats on you in front of your face, carrying his child, and the nigga sleeps with men? Shit, I think twice about announcing that baby too. Word to me.
Y'all said Cardi B is gonna come for me. Bitch, her baby daddy was in my DMs. I ain't worried about that bitch. You stayed with the man that embarrassed you in front of the world. Who's the fool?
Chad, what are you even saying right now? Cardi B went from building a family with a known playboy to rumors swirling about a super low-key, allegedly DL situation with her own baby daddy, and people online are not letting it slide. The street started buzzing the second Stefon Diggs popped up in the picture because suddenly Cardi was outside, glowing, posting, and making it very clear she had leveled up from Offset to a star wide receiver with money, fame, and that clean image. Every event, every party, every public sighting, boom, there they were together like a power duo on a victory lap. And Cardi looked determined to prove this new chapter was bigger, shinier, and way less messy than the last one. But then the plot twisted hard when Stefon Diggs got spotted with none other than Jeffree Star, and not in a casual blink-and-you-miss-it way either. We're talking public, visible, can't deny it appearances. Jeffree basically hinted that while Cardi was busy selling this fairy tale upgrade, he and Stefon had already been moving around together in plain sight, smiling for cameras and not hiding a thing. That made people wonder if Cardi was celebrating a relationship that wasn't as locked in as she thought, because sources started whispering she may have been the last one to know what was really going on behind the scenes, which is honestly wild considering how public everything looked.
I'm sorry, y'all can never make me hate Jeffree Star. Yo, he was dragging Cardi. Yo, listen, I had to add him to the list. Y'all can't make me hate Jeffree Star.
Now, for anyone who somehow missed the drama, Cardi and Stefon's split didn't come out of nowhere. It exploded right around the time he embarrassed her on a massive stage. Word is he showed up to the Super Bowl with another child's mother on his arm and didn't even give Cardi a heads up, which made the situation look messy and disrespectful in front of the whole world. This all happened after his team's crushing loss, so emotions were already high, and instead of damage control, the headlines turned into pure chaos. Social media went into overdrive, with people dissecting every photo, every body language moment, and every rumor like detectives on a mission. Supporters of Cardi quickly flipped the narrative, saying she didn't get dumped, she walked away on top like a boss who refuses to be played. Fans argued that no one with self-respect would stick around after being blindsided like that in public, especially when she had been so loud about how serious they were. Meanwhile, critics questioned why she went all in so fast, pointing out that the warning signs were already there if you looked closely. Either way, the breakup instantly became less about heartbreak and more about who came out looking stronger when the dust settled. Then, things got even louder when multiple men allegedly stepped forward online claiming Stefon had a pattern, juggling several relationships, fathering children with different women, and keeping a very controlled public image. Some went as far as suggesting he used that image to deflect attention from rumors about his private life, though none of that has been proven and it remains pure speculation. Still, once those whispers start circulating, the internet rarely lets them die, especially when there's already drama in motion. And here's the wild part. These rumors didn't suddenly appear after Cardi entered the picture. Long before they were ever linked, there had been quiet chatter surrounding him, particularly after that infamous locker room moment when several teammates reportedly joked they wouldn't want him dating their sister. Whether that was playful banter or something deeper, people dug it back up fast, turning an old story into fresh fuel for the gossip machine. Seriously, what was it about Stefon that made people who actually knew him hesitate so fast? Folks around him every single day seemed to give that quiet side-eye, like they knew something the public didn't, and that only made the curiosity louder. Usually, teammates hype each other up, but in this case, the vibe reportedly felt different, almost like an unspoken, proceed with caution sign hovering over him. Still, Cardi brushed past all the chatter, all the warnings, all the raised eyebrows, and stepped out proudly with him on full display, cameras flashing and headlines rolling. At first, the relationship looked like the ultimate comeback story. Supporters cheered her on, saying she finally found someone new after years of dealing with Offset's roller coaster behavior, and they framed it as her getting sweet revenge by moving on with a high-profile athlete. Social media was flooded with comments like she had won the Breakup Olympics, and every public appearance together got dissected as proof she was happier than ever. For a moment, the narrative felt shiny, victorious, almost cinematic, like the start of a brand new era. But that mood shifted fast the second Cardi revealed she was expecting. Suddenly, the celebration turned into concern, confusion, and a lot of loud opinions about whether this was moving way too quickly. People started asking blunt questions. Did she really need to have a baby right now? Was this the right person to be tied to for life? Because having a child isn't a temporary connection. That bond doesn't expire, doesn't fade, doesn't disappear when feelings change. And Stefon's past, already labeled complicated by critics, made the situation feel even heavier to outsiders watching from afar. Some observers argued he was the type meant for fun moments, flashy dates, and excitement, not necessarily the stability required for building a long-term family structure. Harsh or not, that sentiment spread quickly online, especially among those who felt Cardi deserved peace after years of public ups and downs. The underlying fear was simple. Once a child is involved, there's no clean break, no disappearing act, no closing chapter without ongoing ties. Despite all the noise, Cardi didn't pull back. She leaned in harder. Instead of hiding the relationship, she made it even more visible, posting, appearing together, and speaking openly about how he entered her life during a vulnerable time. In interviews and live chats, she described him as someone who helped her heal, someone who brought comfort when she felt drained and guarded, which made her supporters double down in defense of her choices. To them, this wasn't recklessness. It was a woman choosing happiness on her own terms. Whether people saw it as bold, risky, romantic, or impulsive, one thing was undeniable. The situation had everyone watching closely, waiting to see whether this chapter would turn into a fairy tale or another headline storm.
Davin, what guy on the team would you least like to date your sister?
What the hell? Diggs.
What guy on this team would you least like to date your sister?
Oh, Stefon Diggs.
This team would you least like to date your sister?
Least I should date my sister, Diggs. 100%.
This team would you least like to date your sister? And I might add, you're starting to be the runaway favorite for this.
Would nobody want me to date this sister? I'm a great guy. I'm actually a great guy.
Then the story took a shocking turn when influencer and stylist Christopher Griffin, someone who'd reportedly worked around Stefon before, came forward with explosive claims about what he says happened behind closed doors. His account spread fast online because it painted a picture that was far darker than the glamorous public image people were used to seeing. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about touchdowns or red carpets anymore. It was about serious allegations that made people stop scrolling and actually read every word. According to Griffin, the two crossed paths at a charity basketball event in Washington back in 2023, a setting that seemed harmless and upbeat at first. After the game wrapped, a group reportedly headed out to a club, partied for a few hours, and then continued the night at Stefon's home in Rockville, Maryland. Up to that point, it sounded like a typical celebrity after-party story. Loud music, late hours, and people winding down after a public event. But Griffin claims things shifted once they were inside the house. He says Stefon offered him candy, which he initially declined more than once before finally accepting, not thinking much of it at the time. Shortly afterward, he alleges his body felt strange, heavy, and disoriented, like something was seriously wrong. Griffin believes the candy had been tampered with, though these claims have not been proven in court and remain allegations. He further claims that while he was in that vulnerable state, Stefon approached him and began unwanted physical contact, prompting Griffin to panic and pull away. According to his account, he managed to lock himself inside a bathroom for nearly an hour, trying to regain control and figure out what was happening. The image he described was chaotic and frightening, someone alone, disoriented, and unsure who to trust. Griffin says that when he eventually tried to leave, the situation escalated instead of calming. He alleges he was physically assaulted, stripped of his belongings, and pressured to memorize a different version of events before being taken to an airport and sent away. These are extremely serious claims, and they remain disputed, with no public legal conclusion confirming the events as described. What made the story even more disturbing, according to Griffin, is what he says happened about a week later. He claims that while at his residence in Los Angeles, he was confronted in an elevator by several men, including someone he identified as Stefon's brother. Griffin believes the encounter was meant to intimidate him to stay silent about the alleged incident, though again, these claims have not been independently verified. Feeling unsafe and overwhelmed, Griffin eventually decided to speak publicly, saying he could no longer carry the story alone and wanted people to understand what he says really happened that night. His decision ignited fierce debate online. Some demanded investigations, others questioned the timing, and many simply watched in disbelief as the allegations spread across platforms like wildfire. That whole situation sent shockwaves online, and Stefon strongly denied every single claim, calling the allegations false and going as far as filing a defamation lawsuit against Griffin. His legal moves signaled he wasn't backing down quietly, and supporters rallied behind him, arguing that reputations can be destroyed overnight by unproven accusations. Meanwhile, critics insisted the seriousness of the claims demanded attention, regardless of who was involved, turning the internet into a full-blown battleground of opinions, theories, and heated debates. But just when people thought the drama couldn't get any messier, an unexpected voice started making noise too: Jeffree Star. At first, he didn't directly attack Stefon at all. He was mainly vocal about supporting Nicki Minaj, which already put him on a collision course with Cardi's fanbase. Tension simmered quietly until rumors began circulating that Cardi might confront him simply for praising her longtime rival. And that's when everything escalated fast. Jeffree suddenly stopped playing neutral and went full unfiltered mode, making it clear he wasn't intimidated by Cardi or her supporters. He reportedly suggested he couldn't take the situation seriously, especially if, in his view, Cardi wasn't being treated well behind the scenes anyway. That comment alone poured gasoline on an already blazing fire, because now it wasn't just about music rivalries or online shade. It was personal, messy, and impossible to ignore. Around that same period, whispers began spreading that Stefon and Jeffree had been in contact privately. Reports claimed Stefon slid into Jeffree's direct messages, sparking conversations that allegedly led to them spending time together in person. Soon after, blurry photos and eyewitness stories started popping up online, placing Stefon at upscale hotels and restaurants where Jeffree was also seen, fueling speculation that their connection might be more than casual acquaintances. Several snapshots circulated showing the two appearing comfortable in each other's presence, laughing, sitting close, and moving without the usual secrecy people expect when celebrities want privacy. To some observers, it looked like a low-key couple vibe. To others, it was simply two public figures crossing paths in the same social circles. Without confirmation, every image became a Rorschach test, where people saw whatever fit their narrative. Now, it's important to note that none of these viral pictures or claims have been definitively verified, and online content can spread faster than facts. Still, the visuals were dramatic enough to keep timelines buzzing non-stop, with users zooming in, enhancing screenshots, and debating whether the evidence proved anything at all. Real or not, the moment had already taken on a life of its own, proving once again how quickly speculation can snowball into a full-scale digital frenzy. As the rumors kept spreading, the situation turned into pure chaos across social media, with fans, bloggers, and gossip pages all racing to drop exclusive details every few hours. One minute, people were convinced the photos proved everything. The next minute, others were calling it a setup, cloud chase, or even old pictures being recycled to stir drama. The uncertainty didn't slow anything down, though. If anything, it made people more obsessed, because mystery always pulls more attention than clear answers. Cardi, meanwhile, appeared to go unusually quiet on the specific rumors, which only made people talk even louder. Normally, she's known for jumping online and addressing things head-on, so the silence felt suspicious to some and strategic to others. Supporters argued she didn't owe anyone an explanation and was probably focused on her personal life, while critics claimed the lack of response spoke volumes. Every post she made, even unrelated ones, got flooded with comments demanding answers, turning her pages into a non-stop interrogation room. Behind the scenes, insiders allegedly hinted that tensions were boiling over, especially if there was any truth to Stefon maintaining multiple connections at the same time. Some sources painted a picture of a relationship filled with grand gestures in public, but confusion in private, where plans changed suddenly and communication wasn't always clear. Again, none of this has been confirmed, but the narrative caught fire because it fit the dramatic storyline people were already following. What really kept the story alive was how many different angles kept colliding at once. The old allegations, the rumored new connections, the celebrity rivalries, and the high-profile breakup, all stacking on top of each other like a reality show with no script. Every time it seemed like things might calm down, a new clip, old tweet, or anonymous tip would surface and restart the cycle all over again. It became less about one incident and more about a never-ending saga that people couldn't look away from. Some observers began pointing out how fast public opinion can flip, especially when celebrities live so much of their lives under a microscope. One week, someone is praised as the perfect partner, the next week, they're painted as the villain of the story, often based on incomplete information. That whiplash effect kept discussions heated, with debates breaking out not just about the people involved, but about fame itself and how little privacy actually exists at that level. Through it all, one thing stayed consistent. Nobody seemed to have the full picture, yet everyone had a strong opinion. Until someone directly involved speaks in detail or verifiable facts emerge, the story remains a swirl of claims, denials, hints, and speculation. Still, the drama factor alone guaranteed that millions would keep watching, refreshing, and waiting for the next twist to drop. Because in celebrity culture, silence rarely ends the story. It usually just builds suspense for whatever comes next.
Yes. I mean, everybody kept telling me, like, I should have fun.
Yes.
And we had a little bit of too much fun, and now I'm here. We had too much fun. And yeah, we're very excited. We're very
and you're
happy.
both
We talk about
happy.
it all the time.
And you're both happy about it.
Yes, we're very
But
happy.
I'm
about
happy for you to see you this happy because we all know you went through a very messy divorce with Offset.
Mm-hmm.
Were you worried about opening your heart up again or falling in love again or even dating again? Were you concerned about that?
Yes. And one thing about like dating, like it's like when you date, you feel like you're like 16 again. And I don't really.
Well, you want to feel like you're 16. You want to meet somebody that makes you feel like that.
You do, but then it's like you also remember what you dealt with when you were 16. So it's like restarting
Well,
again.
that part, yeah.
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 And being open
And vulnerable.
and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And like one time he just told me, like, it's like, let me heal you. Give me a chance for me to heal you.
Just when it felt like the story had reached peak chaos, old clips and past interviews started resurfacing, adding even more layers to an already tangled situation. Internet detectives dug deep, pulling up everything from body language moments to cryptic comments that once seemed harmless but now looked suspicious in hindsight. Suddenly, ordinary interactions were being reinterpreted as signs, and timelines were stitched together like a conspiracy board, complete with screenshots, arrows, and bold captions screaming that the truth had been hiding in plain sight the whole time. People also began analyzing Stefon's public behavior during the relationship, pointing out moments where Cardi appeared more invested than he did. In some appearances, she looked affectionate and energized, while he seemed reserved or distracted, which fueled theories that the connection may not have been as balanced as it appeared on the surface. Of course, body language can be misleading, but once a narrative takes hold, every tiny detail gets magnified until it feels like evidence. Meanwhile, Cardi's supporters pushed back hard, accusing critics of rewriting history just to make her look foolish.
They argued that relationships are complicated, especially under constant cameras, and that judging someone's feelings from short clips is unfair and unrealistic. To them, she was simply a woman who took a chance on love after a painful past, not a character in a scandal script. That divide created two loud camps online, one insisting she ignored obvious red flags, the other insisting she was being unfairly scrutinized for living her life. Adding fuel to the fire, anonymous accounts claiming insider knowledge kept popping up with dramatic stories, though none could be verified. Some posts described secret arguments, others hinted at sudden breakups and reconciliations, and a few even claimed there were agreements about what could or couldn't be made public. Whether true or fabricated, the sheer volume of these stories made the situation feel bigger and more explosive by the day.
Media outlets started picking up the online chatter, which gave the rumors an extra layer of legitimacy, even when the information originated from unconfirmed sources. Headlines became more sensational, talk shows debated the situation, and commentators framed it as another example of how quickly celebrity relationships can spiral under pressure. What began as whispers on social platforms had now evolved into full mainstream coverage. Through all of this, neither side offered a clear, detailed timeline that could settle the debate once and for all. Without that clarity, speculation kept filling the gaps, growing wilder with each retelling. Some observers noted that in the absence of facts, the most dramatic version of events often becomes the one people remember, regardless of accuracy. In the end, the situation transformed from a simple breakup story into a full-scale public saga about trust, image, and the high cost of living life in front of millions of watchers who never stop analyzing every move. As weeks passed, what started as a loud scandal slowly turned into a tense waiting game, with everyone wondering who would break their silence first. Fans kept refreshing feeds like clockwork, expecting a tell-all interview, a surprise live stream, or even a cryptic post that would finally explain everything. Instead, the quiet stretches only made the situation feel heavier, like something major was being held back just out of public view. Behind that silence, speculation about damage control started to grow. Some commentators suggested both sides might be focusing on careers, legal advice, and protecting their brands, rather than feeding the drama machine. Others believed negotiations or private conversations could be happening away from cameras, especially when reputations, endorsements, and family dynamics are all on the line. In celebrity circles, what isn't said publicly can sometimes matter more than what is shouted online. Meanwhile, Cardi appeared to channel her energy into work, appearances, and carefully curated posts that showed confidence, success, and zero signs of distress. Supporters praised her for not letting controversy derail her momentum, calling it proof she was unbothered and moving forward. Critics, however, argued the polished image looked too perfect, suggesting it might be a shield rather than a reflection of reality. Every outfit, lyric snippet, and caption became part of the analysis, as if hidden messages were buried between the lines. Stefon, on the other hand, kept a relatively low profile, which only intensified curiosity. When public figures suddenly step back, people assume something big is brewing, whether that's legal strategy, personal reflection, or simply avoiding more headlines. Occasional sightings or brief appearances were dissected frame by frame, with viewers trying to read his mood, confidence level, or body language like it was a press conference without words. The lack of closure also kept secondary figures in the story relevant, with commentators revisiting earlier claims, denials, and rumored connections to see how they fit into the bigger puzzle. It became less about one incident and more about a chain reaction of events that reshaped how people viewed everyone involved. Once a narrative expands that far, it's almost impossible to shrink it back to something simple again. Some observers pointed out that this situation highlights how modern fame works. Private lives become public property, and unresolved questions can linger far longer than the original event itself. In the past, scandals faded when the news cycle moved on, but now digital footprints keep everything alive indefinitely, ready to resurface whenever attention spikes again. So the story didn't end with a dramatic final reveal or a neat resolution. It just settled into an uneasy pause, like a storm that hasn't fully cleared the sky. Whether the truth eventually comes out or remains buried under layers of rumor and interpretation, one thing is certain: people will be watching closely, because in the world of celebrity drama, unfinished stories are the ones that refuse to fade away. Just when people thought the drama was finally cooling off, a fresh wave of chatter hit timelines again, sparked by subtle moves that didn't look accidental at all. Observers noticed unfollows, missing photos, and sudden changes in who was liking whose posts, which in celebrity world basically screams that something shifted behind the scenes. It might sound small, but fans treat social media activity like a lie detector test, analyzing every click as if it reveals hidden emotions nobody is saying out loud. Then came the cryptic posts, vague captions about betrayal, growth, peace, or seeing people for who they really are. The kind of messages that could apply to anything, but somehow feel extremely specific at the same time. Supporters immediately assumed these were indirect responses to the situation, while skeptics argued celebrities post motivational quotes all the time. Still, timing is everything, and when those posts drop right after a scandal, people connect the dots, whether they're meant to or not. Rumors also started circulating that mutual friends had quietly taken sides, which is often where the real fractures show up. Invitations change, public appearances shift, and suddenly people who used to be seen together all the time are never in the same room anymore. Those subtle social rearrangements can speak louder than any official statement, suggesting that whatever happened didn't just affect two people, it rippled through entire circles. At the same time, business moves began telling their own story. New collaborations, solo appearances, and separate brand alignments hinted that both parties were carving out independent lanes, possibly to avoid overlap or awkward questions. In high-profile careers, timing announcements carefully can be just as strategic as any press release, especially when public perception directly impacts opportunities.
Directly after that, they took my clothes off and just kind of like pressured me. Continually to.
They took your clothes off?
Yeah, they took my clothes off. They took my clothes off. They took all of my belongings. They posted.
So you're naked?
I got drawers on. I think they let me, I think I kept my drawers. It was a point in time where I'm like, yo, bro, y'all want to see me naked? Like, what the hell is this? And I'm standing there.
Fans also debated whether reconciliation was even possible, or if too much had already happened for things to go back to normal. Some insisted celebrity couples reunite all the time after messy splits, pointing to past examples as proof nothing is ever truly final. Others argued that once trust is publicly shaken, rebuilding it under constant scrutiny becomes nearly impossible. That disagreement kept comment sections buzzing because everyone loves predicting the next chapter before it actually happens. What made the situation especially gripping was the lack of a single definitive version of events. With competing narratives floating around, people essentially chose the storyline they believed most, turning the saga into a kind of public choose-your-own ending. Until someone delivers a detailed account backed by clear evidence, the truth remains fragmented, scattered across interviews, posts, rumors, and personal interpretations. So instead of closure, the story evolved into something stranger, not a finished scandal, but an open case file that keeps expanding whenever new hints surface. And in the non-stop world of online attention, unresolved drama doesn't disappear. It just waits for the next spark to bring it roaring back into the spotlight all over again. Eventually, the conversation started shifting from what happened to what happens next, because people realized this story could reshape reputations for years, not just weeks. In celebrity culture, one messy chapter can follow you everywhere. Interviews, award shows, business deals, popping up in questions you can't dodge no matter how much time passes. That looming shadow made every public move feel strategic, like both sides were playing a long game instead of reacting in the moment. Industry insiders began speculating about image rebuilding, which is practically an art form in entertainment. Carefully chosen appearances, controlled interviews, charitable moments, and high-visibility work projects can slowly rewrite public perception without ever directly addressing the scandal. Fans often recognize the pattern too, debating whether the moves are authentic growth or calculated cleanup, which adds another layer of tension to everything unfolding. Meanwhile, the audience itself started to fracture into fatigue and fascination at the same time. Some people declared they were over the drama and wanted to focus on music, sports, or actual achievements again. Others stayed locked in, treating each new hint like the next episode of a series they couldn't stop watching. That split created a strange atmosphere where the story felt both exhausted and impossible to escape. There was also growing discussion about how fame magnifies personal mistakes into global spectacles. Ordinary relationship problems happen every day, but when famous people go through them, the scale becomes enormous, with millions of strangers weighing in as if they were personally involved. That pressure can distort everything, timelines, emotions, even memories, until the public version barely resembles the private reality. Some commentators suggested the biggest consequence might not be who was right or wrong, but how trust changes afterward. Once doubts enter the public narrative, they tend to linger, resurfacing whenever new relationships begin or old conflicts resurface. Future partners, collaborators, and even casual acquaintances can end up fielding questions about events they had nothing to do with, simply because the story never fully closed. At the same time, there were hints that both individuals were determined not to let the controversy define them forever. New projects, new environments, and new circles can create distance from old headlines, gradually shifting attention to what's happening now instead of what already happened. Reinvention is practically a survival skill in high-profile careers, and many stars have pulled it off before under equally intense scrutiny. So rather than ending with a dramatic confession or explosive reveal, the saga seemed to dissolve into something quieter but still unresolved, a lingering cloud that hasn't fully disappeared, just drifted further from center stage. Whether the full truth ever becomes public or stays locked behind private conversations, one thing is clear: stories like this don't truly end. They fade, resurface, and evolve, as long as people are still curious enough to keep asking questions. Even as the headlines slowed down, the aftershocks kept popping up in unexpected places, proving the story was far from forgotten. Old interviews started trending again, random paparazzi clips resurfaced, and even unrelated posts would suddenly get flooded with comments, dragging the whole situation back into the spotlight. It was like the internet refused to let the chapter close, constantly reopening it whenever attention dipped for even a second. Award shows and public events became especially tense moments because everyone wondered whether an awkward run-in might happen on camera. Seating charts, red carpet arrivals, and backstage footage were examined like a high-stakes chess match, with viewers trying to predict who would appear where and whether eye contact would be made. Even the possibility of crossing paths created buzz, showing just how invested people had become in a story that technically had no new developments. Meanwhile, comedians, podcasters, and commentators began referencing the situation as shorthand for messy celebrity drama, turning it into a cultural talking point beyond the original fan bases. Once a story reaches that level, it stops being just gossip and becomes part of the broader pop culture landscape, something people mention even if they only vaguely know the details. That kind of longevity can be both damaging and strangely powerful, keeping names relevant long after the initial shock fades. There were also whispers that private circles had grown smaller and more cautious, with trust becoming harder to give out freely. When personal matters spill into public view, it often changes how people around you behave, creating a tighter inner circle and a more guarded outer one. Some observers interpreted this as growth and self-protection, while others saw it as fallout from a situation that shook confidence on multiple levels. At the same time, new successes began to slowly shift the narrative, reminding audiences why these figures were famous in the first place. Chart performances, athletic highlights, and major appearances gave supporters fresh reasons to celebrate instead of rehash old drama. Still, every achievement came with a shadow of commentary from critics who insisted the past shouldn't be ignored, keeping the tension alive between moving forward and looking back. Interestingly, a portion of the public started questioning their own role in amplifying the chaos, acknowledging how quickly speculation can spiral when millions of people participate at once. Discussions about privacy, accountability, and media responsibility began popping up alongside the usual gossip, suggesting the story had sparked a broader conversation beyond just the individuals involved. In the end, the situation evolved into something bigger than a single controversy. It became a case study in how modern fame, relationships, and online culture collide in explosive ways. And even if no final explanation ever arrives, the impact has already been written into pop culture memory, where dramatic stories don't need closure to remain unforgettable.
Y'all said Cardi B is gonna come for me. Bitch, her baby daddy was in my DMs. I ain't worried about that, bitch. You stayed with the man that embarrassed you in front of the world. Who's the fool?
By this point, the story had transformed into one of those legendary sagas people reference whenever a new celebrity scandal starts brewing. Comment sections would light up with comparisons, saying things like, "This is giving flashbacks," or "Not another situation like that one," proving the impact had stretched far beyond the original moment. Once a controversy reaches that level, it becomes part of the cultural playbook, a cautionary tale, a meme source, and a debate topic all rolled into one.
You could also see how it changed the way fans approached new relationships involving either person. Instead of instant excitement, there was more skepticism, more side-eye, more let's wait and see energy before celebrating anything publicly. Supporters wanted happiness, of course, but nobody wanted to get emotionally invested just to watch another dramatic unraveling play out in real time. That guarded reaction showed how trust isn't just personal, it can be collective too. Meanwhile, industry watchers noted that controversy doesn't always destroy careers. Sometimes it reshapes them. New audiences tune in out of curiosity, old fans double down out of loyalty, and suddenly attention spikes in ways that can be redirected into music streams, game viewership, or brand visibility. It's a strange paradox where negative headlines can coexist with professional momentum, creating a complicated mix of damage and opportunity at the same time. At the personal level, though, the toll of living through nonstop scrutiny can't be measured in likes or ratings. Being analyzed by millions means every facial expression, outfit choice, or offhand comment gets turned into evidence of something deeper. Even normal human behavior starts to look suspicious when viewed through a scandal lens, which can make moving on feel like walking through a room full of surveillance cameras that never switch off.
Some observers believed the only real escape would be time, long stretches without new drama, allowing fresher stories to take center stage. In the fast-moving world of entertainment, today's shock becomes tomorrow's background noise, if nothing reignites it. But as history shows, all it takes is one interview, one leaked detail, or one unexpected interaction to pull everything roaring back into public conversation. There were also hints that both sides were focusing on rebuilding privately, strengthening family bonds, friendships, and inner circles away from the spotlight. When public trust feels shaky, personal stability becomes even more valuable, serving as an anchor while the outside world keeps speculating. Whether intentional or not, that quieter approach suggested a shift from performance to preservation. So instead of a dramatic finale, the saga settled into something more eerie, a story that never truly ended, just faded into the background while leaving permanent echoes behind. And in a culture that thrives on memory and receipts, those echoes can resurface anytime, reminding everyone that some chapters close on paper, but never completely disappear from the public imagination. Jeffree is known for keeping his relationships extremely private, especially when the other person doesn't want their business blasted all over the internet. He rarely confirms anything, rarely posts partners, and usually lets rumors burn out on their own. But once it seemed like Cardi might come for him publicly just because he didn't side with her, that quiet approach reportedly went out the window fast. Suddenly, he wasn't interested in protecting anyone's image. He was ready to speak on the games he claimed Stefon had been playing behind the scenes. Word spread that Cardi didn't take those hints lightly at all, especially since her relationship with Stefon was still new and fragile. Walking away immediately would have meant facing endless "I told you so" comments, memes, and headlines dragging her for jumping in too fast. Instead, observers say she doubled down, staying put and trying to hold on to the situation, rather than handing the internet a public breakup to feast on. Then fans began noticing something else, a dramatic shift in her appearance that had everyone talking. People pointed to the ultra-snatched face tape looks, those razor-thin brows, and the bold styling choices that felt very different from her usual vibe. When she later started wearing super bright contacts and heavier glam, timelines lit up with side-by-side comparisons, with some viewers claiming the transformation looked strikingly similar to Jeffree's signature aesthetic. It sounded wild, but the resemblance became a full discussion topic online. Some commentators argued it was just fashion experimentation. Celebrities reinvent their looks constantly. Others insisted the timing felt too specific to ignore, especially given the swirling rumors at the time. Jeffree himself allegedly suggested the change wasn't random, implying Cardi was going all out to keep Stefon's attention during a shaky period. Whether that's true or not, the narrative caught fire because it fit the dramatic storyline people were already following. Critics also pointed out that Cardi has a history of going big in relationships, wearing her heart on her sleeve and matching her partner's energy in very visible ways. Supporters, on the other hand, defended her right to express herself however she wants, saying style choices shouldn't be turned into conspiracy theories. Still, the conversation kept circling back to the same question: why did the shift happen right then? Ironically, even with all the effort people assumed was being made, the relationship still faced public embarrassment moments that reignited sympathy for her. For once, some corners of the internet found themselves agreeing with Jeffree's warnings, arguing the situation looked unstable from the start. As rumors about Stefon's personal life continued swirling, unconfirmed and heavily debated, the speculation only grew louder instead of fading away. Jeffree, who normally ignores private messages and low-key advances, reportedly decided he was done staying silent this time. So now the big question everyone keeps throwing around is simple but loaded. Was there actually something going on between Stefon and Jeffree? Or is this just another case of the internet building a story out of fragments? Either way, people are still debating it nonstop, and the curiosity doesn't seem to be dying down anytime soon.